Welcome back, everybody. I'm here again with my good friend and colleague, David Yurkofsky, Immigration Attorney David Yurkofsky. I'm in New York. David is joining us from
Miami Beach.
Miami Beach. And I've actually, David, I don't know if you noticed, I changed my job title to Chief Solutions Officer because that's the mindset that I want to get in. I want to find solutions for a lot of things. I want to find solutions for the labor shortages that our clients, companies are facing. I want to find solutions for the foreign national workers that want to get permanent residence. And so let's talk about the labor shortage in the U.S. I'm going to share my screen real quick because we've talked about this, and this is the U.S. Chamber of Commerce website. So you can just Google U.S. Chamber of Commerce labor shortage, and we've got lots of jobs, but not enough workers. 8.1 million open jobs in the U.S., 6.6 million unemployed workers. So
but remember, folks, those 6.6 million, not everybody in this world works. So just because you see that 6.6, that doesn't mean those are people who are ready, willing, and able. And they're getting government, subsidies and COVID-19 pandemic subsidies, or they're going back to school, or they just, whatever, or they're doing something else off the books, who knows what. So that doesn't,
But even if they were ready to work and they got the job, we would still have 1.5 million job openings. So there would still be a labor shortage.
So in other words, when you see that word labor shortage, that means there are U.S.-based businesses that would like to grow, which would grow our economy, which would grow our tax base, contribute to our national treasure, and maybe even reduce the rate of growth of the national debt. Or maybe, how many million people does it take to have an economy that's doing it, And I mean, it's like a no-brainer. And also, we have an extremely low birth rate when it comes to certain segments, namely folks who are most well off and most educated and just, street smart. A lot of times, unless they're religious, they are not having a lot of kids. And I just read some statistics, even after the fall of Roe versus Wade under the Dobbs decision, there were more abortions in 2023 after Dobbs, like 10% more than there were during Roe versus Wade. Now that counts the abortion pill, I think, which terminates the pregnancy very early. But so about 1.2 million people were 1.2 million births were terminated in 2023.
Okay, so
and abortion is expanding in some states now that are upset about those restrictions. Even Florida may vote to bring it back. The majority of people in Florida. So
labor
shortage is not going to end.
Right. You know what the GDP is, David? The gross domestic product. That's an economic term that gets thrown around on CNBC. But basically, we want to have a nice growth rate. We want to grow our economy, and businesses need to expand. They need to grow, and they need workers.
Yeah, this whole kind of political no growth, low growth, slow growth, expensive energy, penalizing people for using energy. When they created the wheel, and when you take a stick to help you open your window. That's called leverage. If you have expensive energy and you have low growth, you're gonna wind up in poverty. It's not just gonna stay the same. It goes backwards if you don't grow.
Absolutely. What about inflation?
On top of that,
Inflation comes down if we have a full workforce. So
it's a shame, and the law has not caught up. I mean, Congress needs to enact now and change the per country limits so that we can get there are people who are ready to have their green cards now, who are ready to work, and they're waiting, and they're in other countries. Some of them are in the U.S., some of them are in other countries, waiting and waiting and waiting. I mean, this is 2024. There should be an app for your green card. You should be able to get the whole thing done. Okay, maybe not in a week, but 3 to 6 months. If there's a labor shortage, why would you wait 2 or 3 years? If there's a labor shortage, that means we need the people now. We need them yesterday. We don't need 3 years. What is Congress doing?
It's the end of the day, and this is turning into kind of event video. But David, you're passionate about what you do.
It's just common sense. I want people to succeed. I want people to do better. It'll be better for everything, including medical, including health, including everything. The economy's doing better. Everything will do better.
I agree. And, a lot of these election year executive actions, I'm all for it. But I have a simple ask. Throw a bone to people that are doing it legally, doing it the right way. Hire a few more adjudicators to shorten processing time. It's infuriating.
Speed up the prevailing wage determinations from 6, 7, 8 months to a week or a month.
Speed up.
This is ridiculous. The answer is already available online. When we went to that immigration lecture years ago, like almost 15 years ago, they said they were instituting a new system online. And they said that LCAs and PERMs, after you clicked, you would get your response from the computer instantaneously.
That didn't happen.
No.
I know. No, a lot of
U.S. immigration lecture, the U.S. Immigration Services, USCIS representative, I don't know if it was INS then, may have been, no, it was already USCIS. That's what the guy who was the head guy from the Department of Labor assured us. He was 100% sure.
Yeah. No, I know. And they should be held accountable. They should, it would be nice to see a little more customer service type response from the.
And it's not, they act like they're doing the immigrant a favor or the employers a favor. They're not doing anyone a favor. They're helping the country survive and hopefully thrive.
Right.
I mean, we can grow a little. We have a huge country. We could add a couple of cities here and there. The Chinese put up these cities like 2 years later. They have it's amazing what they do. And they also have that demographic problem because they were so against children that it's kind of started apparently backfiring. But we can't let that happen to us. And we need leadership to step forward so we can thrive. It is still a country of immigrants. There is no doubt that the new blood, let's face it, all of us have gotten a little spoiled, being in this amazing country. So much is at our fingertips. You watch the old TV shows. Maybe they have a phone. Maybe they have a TV. We have just so much available to us. So easy. And it does kind of make us lazy. It's just human nature. So we might need a good supply. And of course, these people need to be vetted and background checked and whole kit and caboodle, of course.
Yeah. And we have the technology to do it so quickly and efficiently, So my wish list: faster prevailing wage determination times, faster PERM processing. These are easy. You could double the number of workers. I think there are 12 people working on all the PERMs.
For the whole United States of America?
12. You double that. What's that budget? A few $100,000?
Folks, just so for those who don't know, that's the system of employment-based green cards, not through immediate relatives. And by the way, a lot of times I read in the news that, from certain, personalities on YouTube, oh, they got sponsored by their uncle. No, they did not. It has to be an immediate relative or political asylum or employment-based. And the EB3 and the EB2, unless it's a national interest waiver kind of case, must have a PERM or nurses, which, and by the way, they could also change a few other things. They could just waive the PERM advertising and make it pre-certified, like nurses and physical therapists.
Yeah.
They could add a few more categories that would cut a lot of costs down and save a year and a half. What would you say is a no-brainer, John, that should be pre-certified like a nurse? What kind of jobs?
Well, we're in such a different environment right now where, entry-level positions, our employers advertise and literally nobody responds to the advertisements. And you know what? Shocking. Guess what? Because there are no U.S. workers. There are fewer U.S. workers available because we have this declining birth rate. We have fewer people in the workforce. We have more people retiring. The statistic we showed earlier, U.S. workers aren't here like they were before. And so the mandate to protect the U.S. workers is kind of, I don't want to say obsolete. Of course, you still have to do that, but let's be real. These businesses are struggling.
And then some of the states are increasing the hourly rate to $25 an hour or something. California
at 20. But when you see these, but then you see the bankruptcies that are coming out from these franchises.
These were supposed to be like part-time after-school jobs for teenagers, not permanent jobs, right? Most of these kind of jobs.
The ones that we have are permanent year-round full-time jobs.
Right, but even people who are really good, how many people stay at McDonald's or an IHOP or at Chipotle? What's the average length? It's got to be a few years before they, quote, burn out, move on, or they become a manager, another restaurant.
Every franchisee that we talk to wants to promote from within and they want to grow. So what does that mean? It means that you're constantly offering promotions to your workers that want to stay. So the opportunities are there, but there just aren't enough people applying for the positions because there are fewer U.S. workers available than there were. And so this is an economic issue as well. If we want to lower inflation, if we want to improve our economy and expand, we need workers, plain and simple. We're both fired up.
It's just so obvious. I don't know what to say, but you can't succeed like that. If you ran a business the way some of these folks are running certain programs with the government, they would go bankrupt.
Facts.
It's sad.
It's sad, but we're going to keep fighting. And
you got to have a lot of tenacity, stick-to-itiveness. Don't give up. Stand up and fight and keep going. Get up for another round because you have to when you have that drive, that's what you need to, because it could take time.
But you know what? We know that we're right, and we know that we're on the right side. And so that makes the fight a little bit easier. Maybe not easier, but little
The other one that always drives me crazy is the nanny thing. I get calls from people all the time. They're like, well, we have this babysitter. I'm like, yeah. And, they're on a tourist visa or they're a student. Can you get them a green card? I'm like, they just violated their status. Not really. And then they'll find some, I don't know what kind. I don't know. I don't want to say anything bad about the profession, but, they're like, can't they get political asylum or, da-da-da-da-da. I don't know about I'm creative, but I'm not going to go making stuff up to solve, We have a duty to do things correctly and ethically and properly. And So, you know,
Yeah, there's no need. There's no need to get cute. You know, there's plenty of legitimate business, and you're not going to have longevity if you get cute like that.
well,
So
that's clearly another one. If you've got these, you know, and you just see the numbers are huge. There's such a shortage, and it's always like we had a sick relative that I've seen that it's always seems like it's a lot. Like every person who was helping my relative was a recent immigrant from Africa. Women and men doing the night shift in the hospital, doing the 12-hour shifts. Maybe they're not doing a lot, but they're there in case of emergency.
no,
Caring evil.
yeah, huge labor shortage, huge problem, and it's look at the demographic. It's just going to get worse. This whole baby boomer bubble that's working its way through the population right now. So we need to address that quickly.
So, John, what's your advice to let's say franchise owners and managers on how they can have a steady stream of motivated, qualified new immigrant workers who will appreciate the chance to be able to work for them with their new green card? What's your advice for those people?
Number one, you got to think outside the box. The same old playbook that you've used for the past 10 or 20 years is probably not going to bring you the stream of applicants that you're used to having in the past. And so, obviously, we're big fans of of the legal pathway for foreign national workers for the EB3 program. This might shock a few people, but there are marginalized people, maybe people that were have a conviction on their record that need to be given a chance in the short term. So
yeah, if it's a nonviolent, type thing, like
I'm not here to judge anything. My whole point is think outside the box. There was a great article I read a month or so ago about a McDonald's franchisee. I think it was in Indiana, and he gave kind of a bonus to his high school workers that could come in early, do their homework, and there was some kind of benefit for the worker, and turnover went down. But yeah, look at benefits. Look at meaningful benefits like tuition reimbursement. Healthcare is a tough one for people. I know it's expensive, but just thinking outside the box in general, and certainly, the service that we provide of vetting foreign national candidates who want to come and pay for their portion of their fees that they're allowed to pay for is a win-win. Thank you, sir.
now
21-minute mark. This was supposed to be a 5-minute video.
you could edit this out.
All right, David, thank you so much. Always such a great pleasure.
Thank you, John, and all the best, and hoping for faster perm times. I know you're working on that, and hopefully it's going to happen.
Hopefully it's going to happen.
It'll be a beautiful thing.
Yes, sir. All right. Until next time.
Bye, guys.